Hello, good evening, and welcome to Monday night's GF Uncensored. And we're going to do, I would safely say, a take two and bring our lovely guests on tonight. But I've already had loads of technical issues tonight, so I'm going to feel like it's more take three. So thanks for being in the background, Bob O'Hurley and Tom. And I'm sure our lovely admin there and moderators will bring the lads in, because I can't see the comments. Good evening, lads. Thank you for joining me again.
How you doing, Gary?
Oh, good. How's things?
Things are good. Things are good. Things are a lot better than last time.
Definitely. Thank you for having us with you again.
Oh, you're welcome. I feel like it's more my side this time tonight. So wishing you loads of love and white light, and thank you for joining me.
Appreciate
Thanks for having us.
Same to you, my friend. Same to you.
Yeah, so for all my lovely guests that'll be tuning in on the comments and all that, please bear with us. We will catch up, and the moderators will put comments on the show. And again, thanks, and a pleasure for being along. And I know you've been in the game a long time, haven't you, Bob and Tom? Would you like to give a little bit more background into the viewers for yourselves? What's on and about with yourselves, and what got you in and around all this amazing paranormal and this amazing spiritual journey?
You want to go first?
I was going to have you go first.
Okay. Well,
I went first last time.
I mean, I know for me, well, I guess we both started at the same time, really, just different places, different areas. I started, just growing up in the Pentecostal church, but I don't know. I just knew that there was something else for me. There was more that I could feel. There was more that I could see and hear. And I don't know. I just wanted to get into that and investigate it. What is this? And, and then that just went right into me going into paganism and tarot cards and all of that jazz. I mean, it's been a long, strange trip. I'm definitely giving the abridged version here, but
strange is putting it lightly.
Very lightly.
Basically started out almost the same as Bob. My mom was a Pentecostal evangelist, a prophetess. She went around all over preaching and spreading God's word, and of course she took us kids along with her. And about the age of 7 or 8 years old, God started using me in church, giving prophecy over people, words of knowledge, words of wisdom, discernment of spirits. I've been used in all 7 gifts of the Spirit, and it just kind of took off from there. Got a little bit older, and I got a little bit more curious about things, and I started channeling spirits. And of course, I'm a medium, having seances and Ouija boards. Definitely started out on a lot darker path than what Bob did. I wanted power. I wanted to see stuff that Hollywood produced, and that's basically what got me into it.
Which is dangerous.
I wanted to see more, and that was a bad point of view to go in on it. I never should have went in with that point of view, but I did, and I wouldn't change it now because it's taught me so many things. It's taught me a lot.
And as you're going along as well, I know, like, you got into the darker side of it, Tom, and I would say obviously Bob was more in the whiter light.
Yes.
How did you find it then, Tom, when you was looking, I'd say, for the other side of the energies type of thing, or the lower energies? How did you find it with channeling? Was you channeling positive energies, or did you start channeling lower energies? How could you describe that to people? Because I do actually do that myself, but it's always nice to hear another person's point of view.
At the time, I didn't know anything about lower and higher vibrational energies and spirits and things like that. I had no clue at the time what I was truly channeling. As I look back at it now, I definitely channeled a lot of lower vibrational entities. There was a lot of entities who said they were something, and at the time I believed them, and that's why I kept going back to them. But it was a lot of lower vibrational energies, and it really messed me up. Creating
egregores.
So many things. I was creating things and not even knowing it. I had a lot of attachments on me. To be honest with you, I'm surprised I've never been possessed.
And
I'm surprised.
And
do
really,
you safely say that there's a lot of energies there where, with possessions and all that, I do feel that you could have been like one of them lucky chaps that's not brought the wrong energy through at the wrong time. I know you sound like you've certainly had a lot of attachments, but I always feel that they give you certain things to deal with and test you as well on the path. And I feel that's what they've done with yourself, Tom.
Yes, I totally agree with that. I totally believe that. I tell a lot of people that when it comes to channeling and being a medium, you are allowed to test the spirits, to truly see what you're getting. And I always highly advise that if you are going to allow an energy to come into your body to speak through, you need to test these spirits to figure out who and what it is that you're allowing into your own personal space. If you don't test these spirits, you're taking a chance on a spirit not wanting to leave your body. And if that happens, you're in a world of trouble. So doing something like that, you've got to be very careful about it because you don't want to hurt yourself or anyone around you. So definitely make sure that you're testing your spirits and know what you're doing before you decide to jump in with both feet,
And really, and it's not like I was white light at that point in time, like where the teacher and mentors that I had at that point, it was that life is white, dark, and gray. There's really not that much of a spectrum. It's just life, and because I was taught and given knowledge on the whiter side, the darker side, both equally, when I came back in contact with Tom again, I could see it. I could see where he was. And that was a lot of where I was able to say, okay, buddy, me and you need to sit down and have a little talk here, So, and kind of bring him over to the force, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Bob has truly saved me from that.
Yeah. Do you feel Bob's reeled you in? And then obviously I know with the sitting down and the talking side of it, do you feel like that was the right time, or have you been in that period for like 3, 4, or 5 years?
I've been in a dark spot. This is like really sensitive stuff for me to talk about, so just kind of like bear with me a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been in a dark spot almost my entire life. All right. I know everyone has their own beliefs and things like that. My mother was always in a dark spot. It's kind of like my gifts have been passed down through generation, and I seen the stuff that my mother went through, and I look back at myself and I see myself going through the exact same things, dealing with demonic entities and all the negative energies constantly. Am I out of that dark spot? No, I don't practice that dark stuff anymore, but my life has always been kind of dark.
I don't think it ever
no.
Once you've been there.
Once you step and you play around with that stuff, it never truly leaves. And that's a major warning that I put out to people. Please don't mess with things that you just don't know. You don't completely understand, because you never think that you're going to find or put yourself in a dangerous situation, but I truly have, and it's had a very lifelong effect on me, a very lifelong effect on me.
And also as well there, so you're like a protector as well then on you, Bob, as well, and you do other things. You have like reading shops as well in Daytona, quite far close to Daytona as well. And I think we touched on for the people that tuned in a few weeks back, we mentioned Yellow Springs in Ohio and all that stuff. Do you want to give us a little bit of an insight into that side of it, Tom, Bob, for us, please?
Well, not Daytona, but Dayton.
Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. you know, it was basically, I wasn't even interested in reading cards at the time when I started. I didn't have anything against it. I just didn't have an interest. But then all of a sudden, I picked up a deck in a shop called Mother Earth Connection, and all of a sudden, it was zing! You know, I started flipping through this deck. It was called Wolf Song. It was more Native American, all animals. And I seen the Golden Eagle, and it just zapped me. It just started talking to me. Like, yeah, we're going home. And I started reading on the sidewalk. I started reading in different all-night restaurants. And from there, all of a sudden, the woman who became my teacher, the woman who owned Mother Earth Connection, said, I want you reading in my shop. And it was probably just a few months after I started. And so I was reading in her front window. Other people would be coming in. I want you reading in my shop from time to time. And so I just started traveling, and word started getting about. And yeah.
That's how it grows, isn't it? I always find the best things with any type of person that reads or does anything spiritual, the word of mouth's always better, isn't it? Than I feel advertising or anything like that as well. And you know, I always find you go down the right path of the right people being in and around you as well. You know, so certain teams you work with, or certain people, or certain groups and circles. I always feel that path. You're on the right path, regardless of what you're going through, is how I feel.
Yeah. I mean, and especially when I started making appearances in Yellow Springs, because that's a very spiritually open-minded town. Yeah. It's kind of a small village of hippies, if you will.
Yeah,
and so word really started getting around there and out. You know, so that became a big boost for my reputation.
I find as well, you know, when you're saying, Tom, you pick the cards up and you just got this connection with Mother Earth and that. Do you feel like you was instantly grounded with that and had the link and the connection? Did it just come out of nowhere?
It really, well, I mean, not the spiritual connection itself. I already had a connection, you know, just spirituality, you know, altogether, but with the cards itself, that's where it happened. It was just like, it was just a switch.
Yeah, I got to agree with that. My first time picking up a tarot deck, and like, yeah, I've played around with them before in high school, but I didn't know what I was doing, you know. And then when I picked up my first tarot deck, when it was gifted to me, that was it. I just knew right then and there that this is what I need to do. You know, this is who I am. You know, to me, it's not my spirituality. It's not my religion. It's me.
Yeah.
It's just me. Mm-hmm. You know.
Some people know how to play piano. Some people know how to read cards. It's not life. It's just one of your talents.
Yeah.
I think you froze up.
Yeah, I think you did.
A lot of people do test us to the limit. And I always feel as well that you automatically know when you go somewhere that you're going to be put on the spot or tested. And you know there's certain amount of different questions coming in from different angles all the time, don't you? So it's like, oh, here we go. We know what's coming around and about. Do you see spirits both yourself, or do you sense the energies in the room? How could you best describe your tools that work best for you in your locker? Do you see and hear spirits?
I've seen them. I've felt them. I've had them physically touch me. I can hear them from time to time. Every now and then I'll smell them. Yeah. Like if it's a perfume, or if it's somebody who is more, I guess you could say almost like pioneer-esque, one of those old-fashioned type. I can smell that woodsy musk, you know. But one of my mentors, Big Pete, I smell him from time to time.
I smell, I see, I hear, I talk to, so I get them on all sensory levels, basically.
And also as well, is he an area where you'd like to feel that you'd like to develop in for one of each? Where would you think you'd like to develop in a certain area? Because some people ask you how you do the channeling, and some people ask different things that, you know, that they don't understand as well. And a lot of people always asking the boundaries and trying to push the boundaries. Where would you like to learn in different areas, do you feel?
My area that I would love to pick up in, and that's because I love doing house blessings and house cleansings. I love Lorraine Warren. She's like one of my biggest, she's a big idol to me. And to be able to go into a house, I can feel them, I can see them. But one area I would like to sharpen up on is I would love to be able to see what happened. Why are they there? What caused them to be here? Yeah, that's where I want to sharpen up my skills at a little bit more. And
I would have to agree about that same area. And I think I've never thought about that before either. Where would you want to develop more? I just know that
I want to be able to look at someone and say, hey, you got $35.24 in your pocket. I'm not going to lie. I would love to be that guy and be 100% correct on it. I mean, that's stuff that my mother was able to do. My mom was able to tell what was in your pockets, what you just ate. I would love to be able to do stuff like that. That's another thing.
But the thing is as well, I always feel, I always try and explain to people as well, with any type of development, it's all about the balancing and cleansing, opening your mind up, having a blank canvas, and then asking your guide and your team to bring things forward to you that you want to learn this little niche and that type of stuff, and then see if they can build on that and put that type of scenario in your locker. Just touching back, both Bob and Tom, on when you go out next, try a little thing of when you walk into the room. I've always asked the spirits to come back prior to why they were how they were now. So if they're angry or they're fed up or they're aggressive or they're happy or anything like that, I always ask them to come back prior to that and let me know their story a little bit earlier on as well. So you can always try that as well next time you go into a place to do any house clearance as well. And that does work, because I find that just brings it down a level onto your wavelength that they understand what you're about then.
Yeah. I like that idea.
I normally just ask them, you know, because sometimes they'll be a little overactive, almost excited, you know, whether it be happy or angry, just kind of that excited type of energy. And I ask, okay, calm down. Maybe if you could speak slower for me, can you tell me your story? You know, that's how I've normally done it, is just talk to me. Just tell me your story. Where are you coming from here? You know, but if they're that more excitable type of an energy, though, then it turns into almost like high-pitched static, you know? And so that's where I just be like, okay, calm down. We're both being cool here. Just talk to me. But...
And that's where your respect comes in then as well, isn't it, with what you're about?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, now, when it comes to things like that, we have two different ways of going about it. You know, people will come to Tom and be like, hey, I want to talk to so-and-so. I want to talk to my grandma. I want to talk to my aunt, whatever. And me personally, I don't like to do that, because that feels like I'm going into their home. I'm dragging them out the front door and I'm saying, hey, you talk to me now, you know, and my method is like, you know, they know I'm here. They know I can hear them, you know, they know I can talk to them. And if they've got something they want to say, they'll say it. You know, I just don't want to force them out on it.
Also, as well, you've done like a co-creator as well of homegrown horoscopes. How do you work with the stars and all that as well? Are you a big theorist on the universe out there? Can you explain a little bit about the horoscope side of it and how you work with that in the universe?
That was a project I had going on with another friend of mine out in Oregon, and the purists, the purist astrologers, they tend to frown on it. They don't like it. But yeah, I use a lot of the astrology. What house are we in? What these planets here and whatnot. But then I also lay down a specific spread for each sign, and I tie in what's going on out in the heavens with that reading, and that's the horoscope.
I would always safely say one of my first times I come across somebody that did readings and stuff like that with cards. They actually did me a reading with a normal pack of deck cards, the ordinary playing cards.
That's how it started out.
Yeah, and they were so precise with the information they give. I picked like the smallest pack. We split them into 4, and I picked the smallest pack because I thought, I don't want to know too much, and this was like many moons ago. This was over like 20 odd years ago when my friend who I live in, used to live in this cul-de-sac. He said, I need to give you the reading. And I was like, oh, okay then, fire away. And I was like so nervous, but she was so accurate just off a normal pack of playing cards, which was mind-blowing for me.
That's how tarot cards actually started out. A lot of people, it was a game with regular cards. I actually dated a girl from California who's never touched a tarot deck in her life, but you give her a deck of playing cards and she'll read you in a heartbeat. Me personally, I've never been able to do that. I know the meanings behind the cards. I just don't want to take the time. Like, it's just not me. But yeah, I know some people who use nothing but playing cards and won't use a tarot deck.
Yep.
I always find that when you start reading and you're opening up, I feel whatever you're doing and you're in the zone, that brings in the link and the connection then. Yes. So I believe that's just a tool for the link and the connection, isn't it?
Yeah, cards are just a tool. That's all they are. They're a tool just like a screwdriver. A screw just like a hammer. I'm a psychic medium. Yeah, I'm a psychic. I don't need the cards. I mean, I've always told people that I don't need the cards. They're just pictures, pretty pictures for people to look at while I'm reading. Yeah, I do get things from the cards, but I don't need the cards. I mean, I can sit down and give people a reading, just one-on-one, which I do have a few clients that are afraid of tarot cards. So I give them psychic readings, which a little bit more intimidating for me, because I don't have my crutch, which are tarot cards, to help me feel more confident in saying what I'm going to say. Where if you're using just your psychic abilities, I'm going off nothing and just hoping that I'm right, Thank God that I'm right, But it's scarier for me. I just don't have the confidence without the cards. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, but again, you can push and work yourself towards that with the confidence level as well. I'm a big believer in pushing people forwards and helping as well. I know Bob's a big helper as well.
Yeah, I can do them, and I do them every once in a while. I just choose not to as much as I should. So it's kind of my fault that I don't have the confidence in
it. Yeah, again, definitely. Is there any place what would you like to do moving forwards in the future? What's on your bucket list? What's some of your goals? Question for both of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Anything and everything. I mean, where does the wind take us?
Right? I mean, we have so many things that we're wanting to do. Personally, I know he's got a lot he's wanting to do. I got things I'm wanting to do. Then we got things with Two Oaks that we're really wanting to do. If I had to pick out one thing, it's always been my dream to stand before a crowd of people like John Edwards and just pick out people. Okay, this person came here for you, this, and this, and I want to go over here. This is for you, Bob. That's what I would like to do. I want to do a group reading. I want to sit in front of a crowd of people and do group readings. That is, I don't know why, but that is like one of my biggest dreams.
That's like platform work where you connect directly. Some mediums go to the left of the room, right of the room, middle of the room and break it down, but they call that direct mediumship with that, so
Yes.
you can go direct to the person as well. Same question for you there, Bob. You're not getting away with it.
I don't know. I actually have a lot of social projects that I kind of have in the works. Two Oaks Tarot is kind of the spearhead for a lot of these social programs that I want to create. I don't want to get too much into them because they're kind of sensitive. They have to be done right in order to develop the right way, and I don't want other people to kind of take this idea and ruin it. You know.
Thank you, Karen.
But I most definitely another thing I'd love to do is just go on tour. You know, just hop in the car.
Yeah.
We've got a few directions that some of our viewers are helping us out with. A tour around the Pacific Northwest. I've got viewers in Canada who want us to roll up there. I've got a viewer in Nottingham that wants me to go out there and tour England. These are just some really fun things that I think would be awesome, you know, because really all it is I'm just out there just trying to help people out. You know, I've said for a long time that my position in this life, my job in this life is as a guide. You know, I'm just on the path and I'm directing traffic. You need to go that way. You're supposed to go that way. And yeah.
You need to love yourself.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Over the years, would you find, as you're moving forwards with this, do you find either any of you were superstitious or were you both routinists? I'm a Virgo, so I am a very massive on routinist. I am superstitious, but more, I would safely say, in areas when I was playing football for 35 years, I was more superstitious then than what I am now. You know, I trust my spiritual team like no other. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I've gone up levels than just being superstitious as playing football, like not getting injuries and stuff like that. So do you find either you're superstitious or are you very routinist yourselves?
My big superstition thingy is I don't believe anything would happen, but I don't like it when people touch my cards. I don't let people shuffle my cards. Don't touch my cards. Yeah, that's my thing. I'd say that's probably about the only thing I'm really superstitious on. Just don't touch my cards.
I'm a Gemini, so you know, sky's the limit. I'm actually more superstitious now, just because, you know, a lot of witchcraft and paganism involves a lot of superstition.
Yeah.
It's just how much stock do you put into it. You know, I don't believe in black cats being bad luck. I believe that it's bad luck to walk under a ladder because I have had a hammer drop on my head. But other than that, that's about as far as my superstition really goes. Something really weird happened. Okay, maybe it was a fairy. Maybe I pissed off a pixie.
Another weird one that I have is I don't like to, when you light up an incense, I don't like to blow the flame out. It has to be waved out because I feel that when you blow that flame out, you're blowing the energy away from it. So that's another superstition. I don't have many. That's probably about it.
I just feel like it's a disrespect to the fire element.
Yeah,
you know?
That's another thing too. Yeah.
So I also seen some of my notes going back there. There's been College of International, the College of Broadcasting. Was that in your studying days and all that, Bob, or was you looking at going into broadcasting or anything like that? Was that just what you started coming out on your occupation?
That's where I started. Yeah, the International College of Broadcasting. I was a radio and TV talent and behind the scenes and all of that jazz. Which, if you've watched my lives at all, you can kind of see that background taking form. just with the charismatic side and the different voices and impersonations and whatnot. But I'm still in my studying days. I'm back in school. I'm going to Purdue and majoring in sociology.
Actually, Bob's been like, when it comes to the broadcasting stuff like that, I would have to say that goes back before you actually went to broadcasting college, man, because he's always had that personality. He's always been that ham.
I was taking a video camera to high school.
He's always like Johnny on the spot. He's always been about that. I mean, I think it's in his blood. I think he was born to do stuff like that. It's just Bob.
Where as well did the name Moondragon come in? Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Moondragon. Well, I was in a coven a long time ago, and we all needed our magical name, and I couldn't think of nothing. And I needed a magical name before I went into my first Sabbath, Like, man, what am I going to do? Well, I am obsessed with dragons. I love dragons. I believe in dragons. I practice dragon magic. If it's dragons, I'm about it. And I love the moon. I'm obsessed with the moon. Those are my two favorite things, so I just put them together, and I am the Moondragon. That's how I got that name.
And do you have a certain nickname for yourself, Bob, or is that personal or anything like that you can tell us?
Truth be told, Bob is my magical name.
Yes.
That's all good. Happy days.
Yeah, because I really don't feel that in what I do and who I am, anything like that, it doesn't need to be anything that is grandiose or whatnot. I think I'm just a face in the crowd, and that's the way I like it to be. I feel that you can help more people when you're a face in the crowd. And so Bob is very average. You can't swing a cat without hitting a bob, and so yeah, Bob O'Hurley, that's me.
Happy days. Well, I think as well we'll have to have you on to do an hour's reading or something on the do some readings on the platform. I'll see Karen about that hopefully over the next few weeks, and obviously we'll tie up with something like that. How long are you looking at doing the Pacific tour then, on the Pacific side of it, on the Northwest? How long would that last?
Probably a week. Just go around, hit Idaho, Washington, Oregon, loop it around, and come on back.
Probably altogether, take us about a couple weeks to do it all.
Maybe
traveling time, yeah.
And then we're also thinking about going I-75 to hit Atlanta and back. Tell shops along the way ahead of time, hey, we're coming through. Do you want to host us?
That's certainly good as well. Do you have anybody behind the scenes, or do you sort all that out yourselves, or did you do any of the planning like that, or do you just go with the flow and just take? I always go with the flow, me. I always believe that I'm a big believer in fate and path.
We normally do go a lot with the flow. There's only one person that, other than Bob and myself, that needs a little shout out. And Autumn, we love you, girl. That's all we need to say. Yeah, Autumn helps a lot.
She helps out a great deal. But we actually have, I mean, maybe you don't look at it this way, but we do have our sacred grove.
Yeah.
We're two oaks. We started the whole thing, but we do have honorary oaks.
Yes.
And they form our sacred grove. We have a graphic artist who helps us out with everything, my buddy Jay Wells. He's an oak. Where we're going to be throwing the gathering this August. Tammy, she's an honorary oak. And Autumn isn't an oak yet. She's an acorn. She's actually my apprentice.
For the European viewers, could you explain how what's in around the word oak and like the acorn and that? Can you explain that a little bit more? Is it just the growth within the spiritual group?
Yeah, pretty much. It's just you've become a part of the family, and once you become a part of that spiritual family, you've become an oak. Tammy has been helping us immensely and pushing Two Oaks forward. Jay Wells, I mean, he has given us hundreds of dollars worth of graphic arts work for free because he wants to see us be pushed forward.
Yes.
And then just with Autumn being an acorn, she's being raised up. You know, eventually she will grow into an oak and read under the Two Oaks banner.
Excellent. Also, as well, where else have you got up and coming? I think the Summer Moon Festival. I think we touched on it last time. Armstrong Space Museum. Is all that still going ahead, or how's the current situations over there with any lockdowns? What are you up to over there with the lockdowns and that? Is it moving forwards?
Yeah, I believe that they're still moving forward.
Yeah.
That's more of a like you said, an air and space type thing. There's nothing really metaphysical about it.
It's really cool.
It's really, really cool. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's a bunch of crystals and minerals and asteroids and things like that. It's all going up into space and things like that. They don't take it any other look, but it's a scientific look.
They have a space pod that was up in space. A lot of Neil Armstrong's life. Stuff like that.
Yeah. It's a really cool place. People need to check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. You definitely need to check it out. They got this great big room. It's like a great big dome over it.
It's a planetarium.
Yeah, planetarium. That's what it is. Planetarium. You go in there, they shut the lights off, and you look up, there's stars, and they can show you planets. I mean, it's amazingly beautiful. Yeah. It is.
Did you end up going to the International Astronomy Day? Did you in the spring? Did you actually get to that in May? Did that take place?
No, we didn't go.
No,
I wish we could have.
Would have been cool.
That would have been.
That would have been very cool.
Yeah.
By the way, today's drink is brought to you by Ken. He made me some coffee, and I just want to know everyone's drink. It's the drink of the day. Coffee.
Slanche.
Where would you look forward to? How are they going? Do you know when you're walking in the room? Do you sense like if one of you is not there, do you feel out of balance?
I wouldn't say out of balance,
but it's off. It feels different.
One of our things is that we read at the same table.
This close to each other sometimes.
Yeah, pretty much this far apart from each other.
You know,
we have somebody, across from us. But and sometimes when we're reading, like I'll be reading this person, he'll be reading that person, then all of a sudden I'm just,
yeah.
And I'd be like, oh, okay, and this, and this.
Then a few minutes later, I'll join in his reading. I'll see something in his card that grabbed me.
It's like, okay, and now back to you.
Yeah.
And, but I mean, not being in the same room with each other, I wouldn't say it's out of balance.
No.
But there is, when we are in the same room together, it's definitely a, I don't know, more powerful, I guess.
There definitely is a multiplier there.
Yeah.
So it's a stronger connection.
Yeah.
Much stronger connection.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we basically grew up together, and so, yeah.
I also find as well when you're doing that and you're crossing over and picking up and giving things, it's quite hard sometimes as a medium to hold back. When somebody's actually reading, or I watch some live shows and stuff like that, and it's like, you do get so much information just by either watching the telly or watching a live feed or watching another medium work or a horror film or a pro. And I'm always getting talked to by my guide and my team. How do you work with your team? Who would you say is the strongest in and around you with your spiritual team? Have you got guides, or do you have spiritual animals as well for the folks out there?
It's my ancestors. I don't really know what to believe on. Is it a guide or is it guides? A lot of people say, I have a bunch of guides. Well, I only have one. It's the only one I've ever seen. And she's pretty quiet unless I mess up or really go to her to talk. She's really not talkative with me unless I go to her. And I rely a lot on my ancestors, my grandmother and my mom.
Same question to you, Bob.
I basically, I have animals that, in the physical realm that, I feel like they do kind of show me this is the route you need to take. This is where you shouldn't go. There's crap going on down that way. Owls, hawks. Yeah. And there's times where, I remember years ago in Dayton, I'm driving down the street and I heard a hawk scream, and I was just like, whoa, when I hit my brake, and it was just a little bit ahead of me. Somebody ran a stoplight, and the person in front of me T-boned them. And if I hadn't hit my brake, I would have been into the back of that car. As for spirit guides, I basically just have Bridget. She's been at my side for years, and so she's definitely given me that tongue lashing here and there, and the rewards and whatnot.
And I can see automatically that you bounce off each other and you link it in with each other. Have you done anything on past life regression between yourselves to see if there's a link and a connection there, or was you twins in a past life, or brother and sister, or?
Oh, we haven't done it like that.
Not like that. No,
we've
never did it like that.
We've done regressions on each other, but we've never actually. That would be interesting.
That would be very interesting. That would be. That's a good idea. Very good idea.
Good old Garry. He's got all kinds of good ideas.
Right?
Look at him go.
Right. You're getting so big, Garry.
It's coming from this side. It's coming from behind me. I'm getting chatted away behind me here. So I do get people that can see my guide and all that as well. But can you tell us a little bit more when you've done regression on each other then? What did you come across? Can you remember that?
Oh, well, okay. So
I only remember one.
I wonder if this is the one that you remember. But I remember over at Paul's house.
Yep.
I don't remember it, but we had people taking notes and whatnot. And he was doing the regression, and apparently I was a little Irish boy. And I was like all kinds of full of energy and whatnot. And I wasn't allowed to chop wood anymore because I was chasing chickens with the axe, and my mom got mad. And there was a little boy. I got in trouble for fighting him because he was picking on my sister, and they tried to pull me out of the regression, and I refused to leave because it was dinner time.
Yeah.
And, and because mom was such a great cook. And they said that like some of the notes on what I was saying, a lot of it, they had to go from memory. They couldn't understand what I was saying because my Irish brogue was so thick.
Yeah. And same question for you, Tom.
The one that I remember, Bob was doing for me. He actually almost stopped it because he thought that I was like pulling his chain. He thought that I was trying to say that I was someone that I wasn't. I remember I was back in the times of Christ, and I had my children with me, and they were starving. And I remember that the authorities were looking at me because I stole some bread so my children could eat. And I was waiting for Jesus to walk by. And that's all I can really remember of it. It was a pretty traumatic time, and that they had to bring me out of it a little bit sooner than what I should have been. But I was about to be caught for stealing bread to feed my children.
Well, do you feel that when we're doing stuff like this and working spiritually, do you reckon that the realm out there, or the veil, or do you feel a bit of a mixture like with the portals and stuff like that? Do you feel that we're really... I feel we're tuning into like a big washing machine of the energy that's swirling all around us with a lot of this as well, is how I can best describe. And I would always safely say 50, 60 billion people lived before us, and all their spiritual energy is around us. What's your take on like the atmosphere and the way spirits communicate with us, and how do you find it works for you?
See, the way you're describing it is basically how I see the Akashic field. You know, I see the Akashic field as like a nebula. And when we die, the spirits go back to the Akashic field, and all the energy that we are goes back to the Akashic field, and all the knowledge that we had gained in that life is basically uploaded into that nebula, and it's shared throughout, you know. And so I think that, like, with a past life regression, we're kind of tapping into that field, you know, and grabbing some of those pictures and some of those memories.
I have to concur with that. That's the way I believe about it too. Look at it, yeah. I believe that the spirit world is exactly like this world, but we just can't see it.
And also
being up in or something like that. I believe, yeah.
I was just saying there where Bob touched on, like, the Akashi, I can't say it, Akashi field.
Yeah.
Akashi field. As you said, it's that processor of the records, isn't it? I feel, from what we've had on our soul as it's lived and as it's moved forward. I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Tom. So how do you feel about the record side of things with that as well? Do you feel it's the whole package up there in this Akashi field?
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. I can't answer that one. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
explain it to me.
Okay, so it's basically the same thing. You know, I say Akashic field, and most people say Akashic records back from Edgar Gacy.
Yeah.
You know,
this is all I can say is that I was having an outer body experience one time, and I remember shooting like way out into space. And have you ever seen the movie Men in Black?
Yes.
Will Smith?
Hold on.
You know,
I'm just going to zap you with this pen.
The very end of the movie.
So when was the interview going to start?
Yeah. So the very end of the movie, when they have the alien with the marbles, and each marble was like a galaxy inside of a galaxy. Mm-hmm. That's basically exactly what I saw. That's the only way I can. Yeah.
And that is an amazing way to describe it, as well. As I always try and keep things simplistic when I'm trying to explain things as well. I always believe the experiments we do when we go out on a paranormal investigation, keep it simplistic, that people can keep it down the middle. And it's all right pushing the boundaries, which is great, and trying to go different routes and bringing more stuff in as well. Have you ever had it where, have you actually zoned out at any time when you've done any out-of-body experiences? Have you zoned out when you've gone in a room, or had like a blank expression, or have you had that, like, time freezes? I've had that many a time over the years, but I always feel it every now and again, where time freezes and you're like, what's all that about?
What? Yeah. Zone out?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What is this you speak of?
That happens quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially like if there's like a new place that we're about to be reading at, you know, like somebody's house, you know, we'll be setting up to read in there. And there's all kinds of new energies, new spirits and whatnot. And sometimes it's almost like it becomes overwhelming to a point where I just kind of black, you know? So yeah, kind of in a way, kind of like zoning out.
I know say 10 years ago, I was doing some walking and I was with a very good friend of mine who knows me like the back of my hand. And he said, "Who you been talking to for the last 20 minutes?" And I was like, "What?" He said, "You've been chuttering away and chattering away to somebody spiritually for 20 minutes while we've been on this little walk, you know." And it's like, all right, okay, I don't remember. And it's just like, it's just like going through, I wouldn't say minefield, it's just going through a zone where you're like, I always try and explain to people, sometimes it's like, you know, you're driving a car and you're on automatic pilot and you're 10 miles down the road and you think, oh yeah, I'm coming up to this junction now, but you can't remember driving. It's like that state of mind, isn't it, where you are on the automatic pilot. Have you had any scary experiences with that? I mean, people have sleepwalking at night.
I don't sleepwalk or anything like that, but there are quite a few times during the day that I find myself just looking out, like I call it looking out to the distance, you know? I'm just in my daze, I'm in my trance, I have no train of thought, and then I won't even realize it until someone's talking to me, you know? So I know exactly what you're talking about on that. That happens quite a bit.
I've hit that during readings sometimes, you know, where I'll be given the reading, and then all of a sudden we're at the end of the reading and I'm coming back. Words are coming out of my mouth and I'm just like, okay, just let it roll. Whatever is finishing up, let it do it. Yeah. So I one specifically, you know, I remember I was coming to, you know, during a reading, and what was coming out of my mouth was, you know, fear is the little death, and the more you fear, the more a piece of you, like the more pieces of you die. And I'm just like, that was dark. What the hell was that? You know, but
it sounded very weighted and a heavy energy. That sounded like, you know, it's like very. I always say like they're on the pedestal or they're on the soapbox and they're giving the preaching like, and sometimes it can be an overpowering energy when it's driving the words out too quick and too fast or too strong.
Well, you know, and it's interesting you put it like that, because there have been times where I would be reading somebody who has, you know, a very strong you know, pull towards Christianity and have a very charismatic background, and the reading would actually turn into like me being a fire and brimstone preacher, you know, and basically just getting up from my chair and going back and forth and just, you know, pulling it all out from the pulpit to the back door. Can I get an amen? You know, and gonna stop me a Jericho march,
right?
Also, as well, I know you're over there in the good old USA. Do you find when you're driving through certain states that you're drawn into that type of energy that you log into straight away, and it's just like you can't get out the zone of that energy from the ancestors back there, or any states that's renowned for likes of, say you're in New York and it's a lot of the I would say like the Blood Brothers and a lot of the gangster type of scenario. Do you get the times and the periods of different zones when you're going into different states? And sometimes it's like walking into the 18th century or the 15th century or a different decade. I have that quite a lot.
You know, there's some times where I'll get that vibe, you know. It's not like I'll start seeing, you know, how it was back then, but I'll definitely get the vibe, and I'll know if there was like, you know, a war between, you know, tribal people in this area way back when. I remember Jay Stevens. I was over at that at his small house, and I was doing readings, and I could hear tribal screams on top of the hill, you know, and I could hear them coming down this way, and then I could hear cannon shots behind me. I was like, what happened on this land? Do you know the history of the land? Like, this is pretty intense. This is like, you know, like some Indian wars going on here. And
it happens to me more often than I would actually like it to. One of me and the wife's favorite things to do is to drive around and pick out haunted houses. And you can just feel. Yeah. That's one of our favorite things to do. That's haunted. Yeah, I know. That's haunted. I know like, that. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Definitely.
Every time you go like that. In the daytime, you go in, look at the top window. I'm drawn to the top window. Just bizarre, isn't it? What would you say your experiences over the years for likes of your the happiest thing you've ever come across spiritually, or the strongest energy that's affected you the most in a way that, ooh, if you're crossing over or you're doing a house clearance or something like that? What would you say, like the good, the bad, and the ugly side of things? With, you know, there is a balance between experiencing as we're going through and working with things over the years. What stood out for you with like the good and the happy side of things, and the bad and the weighted side of things? Which way do you feel that that really stood out with, oh, that was fantastic? Like a little thank you of crossing somebody over and you go in, oh, that's just blown my heart away because it's a little child and stuff like that, you know. And sometimes these little things to me just mean the world.
A good one, not off top of my head, give me a minute, but
that's okay.
Not too long ago. Actually, this happened last year. I had this lady get a hold of me. She lives in Steubenville. That's like 2 hours away from us. And she don't know how she found me. She just messaged me one day and started talking. She don't know how she found me or nothing. Well, come to find out, she wanted her house blessed and cleansed. I was like, fine, yeah, we can do this. Well, every time we made plans to go do this, something would happen either on her end or my end. I would either get like really violently sick and couldn't have it. I mean, I deal with some issues every day with my stomach and seizures and whatnot, but it would get like severely bad, and or something would happen on her end that would be severely bad that would stop us. And I after this happened like 6 or 7 times, I'm like, you know what? I know what's going on here. So I got a hold of her, and I'm like, no matter what happens, no matter how sick I get, no matter what emergency pops up for you, we need to get together. I don't care what it is. I was like, there's something stopping me from coming to your place. So we finally got together. We made the trip. We went down, and it's like, as soon as I got out of the truck, I looked up and I seen, which is funny, you mentioned the top window. I see an old lady looking out at me from the top window. And I'm going through the house. She lives with her dad, and her grandma lived there, and her uncle. So I'm going through, and I'm talking, you know, trying to figure out what's going on, and I can't get away from this old lady. I go and talk to her.
Did she have a white cap on?
No.
Did she have any type of white hat on? No hat?
No hat. She did have white hair, though.
White hair, yeah. Yeah, yes. That's fine.
She had died in that home. I was talking to her grandmother. She said, well, what'd you find? I was like, well, there's an old lady that needs to be, you know, taken out of this home. And she goes, well, they found evidence that back in the 1800s that there was a woman that lived there that her husband had brutally killed her. She was abused for a very long time, and she created over all this time a hatred for men. So she was feeding off of this young lady's father and her uncle. They were both shut in their bedrooms. They would not let no light into their bedrooms. Every moment of their life was spent in these bedrooms. Her father would not allow open windows into the house, would not allow curtains to be open. If one would open, it was like he just knew it, and he would come out, and he would go off, and he would shut it. And I told her, well, you got this woman, she needs to leave. She's stealing the energy from your dad and your uncle, and she's trying to kill them. She hates men. And the sad part about it is that he was dug so far down, and he was so deep in his depression. She had such a hold on his life that he knew what was going on, but he refused to allow me to go through and cleanse the house. And she's like, well, what do I do? I was like, the only thing you can do is move. Without his permission, there's nothing I can do. And that was probably one of the worst cases. She did end up moving out her father is still staying there, and the situation still goes on, and it's actually getting worse. That's probably
I feel as well, Tom, that person gets used to that energy and they want to retain that energy because they feel it's got strength, don't they?
Yes. Yes. I totally 100% agree with you.
That's where it can affect people with mental health then as well. Like the gentleman, if he's retained it and stayed there, that's where they go on the downward spiral even more, isn't it?
Huh? What was that?
That's where, when the females left, she would have a chance of breaking away from that energy and the entity there. But the male that stayed there, he would go on it and be in that strength of the energy, but it will take him down more because it's suppressing him even more.
Yes, yes. And, raised as a Christian, I've always believed that spirits can't take your life. I've always had that, but they can cause things to happen that can end your life, and that's basically what this woman's doing. She's wearing these men down until they have nothing left and they end their own lives. That's basically what's happening right now. And that's very sad to me because I've been very suicidal in my past. And I know how hopeless those feelings can be. And it really touched me because it was someone that I couldn't help. And that it just touched me because I wanted to help them, but I couldn't.
Well, if you, I wouldn't do this on a live usually, but if they want help, I'll obviously send some love and white light over, and I'll just try and balance it out from a distance. We can do that. I'm always trying to help. I'm a helper, I'm a healer, and sometimes where people refuse, it's like that they can't see any light at the end of the tunnel. But if you give me an inbox or an indication of, I'll just try and help that way of what district is and link in with the county, and that'll try and do that as well. So jumping back to you there, Bob, how would you say that any positives or things that stuck out with you over the time and period with like the happiness side of it or the weighted side of it? What would you say experiences there for yourself that stands out?
A lot of it's usually dealing with the synchronicities. I've never really experienced anything like that. But I don't know, just in the ways that I've been able to help people in their experiences. The shared energies between myself and somebody else, where it's just undeniable they were supposed to be in your life. But I don't know, as far as spiritual activity and whatnot, big positives and big negatives, nothing that really stands out. I once lived in a house that was full of activity, and the house, or the room that I was living in, used to belong to a little girl named Sarah Jane, and she became so comfortable with me that she basically seen me as like her big brother. And there were a couple of times I would wake up and I would just see the back of this blonde head right in front of my face, like she was just kind of curled up with me. I was like, but that was a really good moment though, that she was.
But you worked out what was going on.
Huh?
You worked out what was going on straight away from waking up and seeing the spirit there. You automatically knew what was going on.
After a while, after we started putting pieces together and whatnot, but so along those lines, like that. But otherwise, it's always been through synchronicities and just the knowing that this was supposed to be like this. We were talking about Tammy beforehand, and she told me a little while back, oh, but where she lives, she's saying, oh, there's a cemetery I like to go to, and I like to take walks through there. It's a very calming cemetery to me. There's a few graves of children I like to visit, and she said on Halloween she'll like to put small pumpkins on their tombstones, and she and I was like, that's interesting, because the cemetery you're going to, she told me the name, like, I've got family that's buried in there. And she's like, oh, really? That's interesting. And so she was like, yeah, there's this one little boy. His name is Elmer. And like, his name's Elmer? Like, yeah, his picture is on his tombstone and everything. I always stop by. I say hi to Elmer. And it flipped me out, because he died in like the late or the early 1962 in a car wreck when he was 10 years old. It would have been my mom's next younger sibling. And I was like, you are visiting my uncle, who died when he was 10. She's like, are you kidding me? And she said she always goes to his, like, for years. We've only known her for about maybe 6 months. Yeah. And for years, she's been going to his grave. And she's like, you know what? At this point in time, he'd be in his 60s. So I dump a shot of schnapps on his grave from time to time. And, and it's like, okay, all right. So that connection was something that made me really happy.
Yeah. And again, it's bizarre how spirits tie things in as well, isn't it? With that unveiling. I always find like we are like spiritual detectives as well, aren't we?
Yes,
yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I can't even add any more to that. We're spiritual detectives.
Yeah.
So again, thanks for joining me tonight on Keep On Chatting and GF Uncensored. It's just anything comes out and anything's random with any of the questions, and I do appreciate you lads joining back in with me after we had internet connection faults a few weeks back or whatever. Where can people get hold of you, and where can people contact you as well? Can you let us know?
Well, we're on Facebook, Two Oaks Tarot on Facebook. www.facebook.com/Two Oaks Tarot. Yeah, basically. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we do all that jazz. He has a live Tom's Tarot Lounge. I have Coffee Table Tarot, and quite often we're on there.
Yeah, certainly loads of stuff keeping you busy, like, isn't it? And I always find the spiritual path as well does keep us busy, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. Speaking of keeping busy, bro, I didn't even discuss this with Bob, but I'm known for doing this. Gary, if you would ever like a reading, you get a hold of me, bro, and it would be an honor for me, because what you're doing for us right now is amazing to me. You don't have to do this. And this goes both ways. Yeah. Either one will read you. Yeah.
And that's what I find, Tom, and I appreciate that. It's about, with the network, and this is what we're trying to do. We Keep On Chatting, is integrating everybody and giving your life experiences and what people have come across and what you're about and how things developed to where you are today with helping and all that as well. So, it does work both ways, as you said, and I appreciate that. And that's why we always, we're all a community, aren't we?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Even though we're so far away from each other across the pond, man, we're still family. We're still family. That's what it's about. Well, it's that collective conscious. Yeah, like I've told people, it's all about love. First, you have to love yourself, and then love of others. Yeah. The old saying, well, you can't love anyone else if you don't love yourself. No, that's bullcrap, because I know a lot of people out there that don't love themselves, but they have children and they still love their children. But imagine how much more love you can have for your children if you truly love yourself first. It's all about love.
Oh, most definitely. Loads of love and white light, as I said at the start of the show. Again, Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for sharing your vast experiences as well, and helping us people there to connect with you over there in the pond as well. And this is why we do this. We just enjoy catching up with people that's like-minded and helping people and guiding them and pushing them in the right direction, which you do. And you certainly got a great connection together there, and I take my hat off to you. So keep doing what you're doing.
I take my hat off to you, but I got no hat to tip. Oh man, Gary,
thank you, Gary. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you. It was amazing. I had a great time. And now it's time to eat some fish and chips.
All right. Thanks for your time. Go and enjoy your tea anyway, lads. I don't know if you can click on the button there for me because my computer's gone down, so I'm alone at the moment. What I'm going to quickly do from my show from Thursday night, I'm going to do a random generator because I had a prize to give away, and I just wanted to do that now while I was on the live. And then if you can just bear with me for 30 seconds, I'm just going to do a random generator of 1 to 30 numbers of people that interacted with the show on Thursday night. So I'm just going to press this now, and then number 26. So I've got a list that I've made with number 26. So I'm going to go on to that for the prize, but I'll just show people there. So I'll contact that person.
Congratulations.
It's Mary Lima. So I will contact Mary Lima. She's number 26 on my list from Thursday's show. And I've got Scooby-Doo to give away. So that's
that's awesome. That's awesome.
So he just needs a new home. So
I love it.
I'm going to say on that bombshell, because this is where we all started back in the day.
Yeah.
So number 26 is the winner. So I'll contact her and then sort that out, and I'll get that name and address and sent out to her again. Thanks for tuning in, folks, and I'm going to say good night to you, lads, and thanks for your time.
Thank you, Gary.
Love, light, many blessings, y'all. Thank you.
Give me an inbox because my laptop's down, so I'm going to have to end it on the phone, and I don't know whether it'll knock it off backstage or not, so I'm not too sure.
Okay. No problem.
Take it easy. Right. Stay safe. Thanks for your time.
Blessed.
And you. Bye-bye.
Bye.